Adhering to the premise that those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it, we take a look at what the Washington Redskins have done with their last 25 years' worth of first-round draft picks. Over the past quarter-century, 1994 to 2018, Washington has selected 21 players in the first round of the NFL Draft. The team has picked dominant all-pros, colossal busts, and everything in between. A quick breakdown of how the Redskins have used the most cherished commodity in all of sports reveals a few surprises. Most notably, the Skins have used almost 40% of their last 25 years' worth of first-round draft picks on quarterbacks and offensive linemen, 4 QBs and 4 OL. Additionally, 15% of first-round picks were spent selecting either outside linebackers, defensive linemen, and wide receivers, 3 of each. Finally, roughly 10% of those picks were used on cornerbacks, 2, or safeties, 2. Washington has not drafted a single tight end, running back, or inside linebacker in the first round over the past 25 years. It is a stretch to draw any meaningful conclusions or make any correlations that would stand up to scientific scrutiny when looking at a body of work that transcends 3 different owners, 7 different GMs, and 8 different coaches. Still, there are certainly some interesting findings, even if they are nothing more than anomalies. If we can draw any conclusions from 25 years of Washington's first-round draft picks, it might be that the Redskins have struggled drafting quarterbacks and wide receivers but have fared pretty well at all other positions. On a high note, the Redskins have done well drafting defensive backs. The 2 corners were Champ Bailey and Carlos Rogers. Bailey was a 7-time All-Pro, went to 12 Pro Bowls and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year. Rogers went to 1 Pro Bowl and was considered a solid corner throughout his career. The safeties were Sean Taylor and LaRon Landry. Sean Taylor's much too brief tenure with the Redskins, 2004 to 2007, earned him 2 trips to the Pro Bowl in 06 and 07 and a first-team All-Pro selection in 2007. His tragic death later that year is still felt around the NFL. Landry went to 2 Pro Bowls. His rookie year he was named to the All-Rookie defensive team and was a Pro Bowl alternate. With Taylor regarded as the best safety in the game paired with the sensational rookie, Washington boasted the most feared safeties in the game. Staying with defense, the Redskins have also done well drafting OLBs. LaVar Arrington in 2000, Ryan Orakpo in 2009, and Ryan Kerrigan in 2011 were all picks that yielded Pro Bowl caliber players. The other defensive first-rounders were Kennard Lang, Jonathan Allen, and Darren Payne. Lang never attained the status that we hope Allen and Payne will, but he held his own. In 5 years with the Skins, he recorded 205 tackles, 21 sacks, forced 9 fumbles and recovered 6. These aren't all-pro numbers, but he was anything but a bust. No, the busts are reserved for the offensive side of the ball. The Redskins have drafted 4 QBs over the past 25 years and Robert Griffin III was by far the best of the bunch. Griffin's rookie year saw him earn a trip to the Pro Bowl, garner Offensive Rookie of the Year honors and lead Washington to the playoffs. Unfortunately, injuries derailed his career and he is remembered more for the King's ransom the team spent to draft him than for his spectacular rookie year. Before that it was Jason Campbell taken with the 25th overall pick in 2005. Campbell had a middling career that ended with an 81.7 QB rating, second to Griffin's 88.3. In 2002 the Redskins drafted Patrick Ramsey with the last pick in the first round. Ramsey went on to play for 9 teams in 9 years before retiring with a career QBR of 74.9. In 1994 the Redskins used the 3rd overall pick to draft Heath Shuler out of Tennessee. Shuler was the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy and came to Washington amid massive fanfare and sky-high expectations. He is generally regarded as one of the biggest draft busts in Washington Redskin history. In fact, ESPN voted him the 4th biggest bust in NFL history. His numbers make it hard to argue the point. In his 3 years with the team he threw for 3,691 yards, 15 touchdowns and 33 interceptions. He finished his career with a 54.3 QBR. The Redskins have not had much better luck when drafting WRs. Over the last quarter-century they have selected Michael Westbrook in 1995, Rod Gardner in 2001, and Josh Doctson in 2016. Westbrook was hugely disappointing, averaging 39 receptions, 600 yards and 3 TDs a season over the course of his 7 years with the team. Considering he came as a 4th overall pick, he definitely qualifies as one of the biggest disappointments in franchise history. Why he was kept around for 7 years still baffles me. Westbrook's numbers mirror, almost identically, those of Josh Doctson. Doctson missed his rookie year because of injuries. Over the past 2 years, he has averaged 40 receptions, 550 yards and 4 TDs a season. If he can't find a way to double his production this year, he will likely be released and assume his position alongside Westbrook and Gardner as first-round busts. Gardner, drafted in 2001 with the 15th overall pick, lasted 4 years with the team before being traded to the Panthers for a 6th-round pick. He averaged 750 yards and 5.5 TDs a season while with the team. While this puts him way out in front of Doctson and Westbrook, it's not what you're hoping for when drafting a WR in the first round. Lastly, we look at the offensive linemen picked in the first round since 1994. Andre Johnson was drafted with the 30th pick in the 1996 draft and is often considered the biggest bust in NFL history. He never played a game for Washington. The Redskins released him after 1 year and he was picked up by the Dolphins. He never played a game for the Dolphins either. The following year he played in 3 games for the Detroit Lions before being released and his career was over. To say that the Redskins rebounded with regards to drafting O-linemen is an understatement. Since the Andre Johnson fiasco, Washington has invested 3 first-round picks on the offensive line. In 2000 the Redskins drafted Chris Samuels with the 3rd overall pick. Samuels spent his entire career with the Skins, going to 6 Pro Bowls. Then, in 2010, they picked Trent Williams with the 4th overall pick. Trent has been to the Pro Bowl 7 times, so far. And in 2015, they brought in Brandon Scherff with the 5th overall pick. He has already been to 2 Pro Bowls. So, if history is a good teacher, it would appear that in this case she has taught us absolutely nothing. Although, she might be suggesting that we avoid drafting a QB or a WR. Or, she might give us a wink and whisper, "Oh, lineman." Then again, she might point out that the team's recent history demonstrates a much stronger track record when drafting on the defensive side of the ball as opposed to the offensive side of the ball. Maybe it's time to try something different and draft a tight end, Hawkinson, or an inside linebacker, one of the Devins. Frankly, this team has so many needs and there are so many players rated as first-round talents, it would be hard to make a pick that didn't provide some immediate help. For my money, picking a WR in the first round is a crapshoot. I'd steer clear of that position. An offensive lineman would be a safe pick, and fill a need. The quarterbacks have had fans and analysts at each other's throats. I like Daniel Jones better than any of them, but I'm clearly in the minority. Still, taking any one of the QBs could not be criticized too much. Of course, there looked to be an edge rusher or two that would have a lot of fans cheering. Next, 2019 NFL Draft Scouting reports. Regardless, the success of this draft will ultimately be tied to the Day 2 and Day 3 picks more so than the sole player selected in Round 1. But, it sure would be nice to grab a first-rounder that went to a bunch of Pro Bowls as opposed to another dud.